What's up, my Wizards Dev from SBMTG? More spoilers on the last day of the year, and a lot of these are really intriguing. People are really talking about like 3 or 4 of these, so let's take a look. Well, the newest card spoiled so far is Stoneforge Masterwork, and people are freaking out about this. You know, not just Commander players, but even Standard players. Most notably, I'd say Elves and Allies, but Allies is probably the only deck that will want to make room for something like this. Works really well with, what is it, Stoneforge or Stonehaven Outfitter. That's pretty cool. That was just spoiled the other day, and it too is an ally, conveniently. So I'd look for this, you know, to be tested at least in Standard Ally decks. I don't think it's the piece that puts them over the top or anything. We'll get to the Ally Legend in just a second. I don't know that that puts them over the top either. But this is definitely good for Commander players of all stripes that like to play, you know, Tribal, basically. So welcome to Standard and Magic, period, because you're going to be in a lot of Commander decks, Masterwork. This is Deceiver of Form right here, and it's a weird card, right? This is really neat. People are already saying in Modern, Kokusho. That's a pretty cool trick, you know. All your guys become Kokusho, they die because of the Legendary rule, and your opponent takes 5 damage per creature that dies. Plus, you still get to swing with the Kokusho. That's pretty cool. Even if you don't hit something that you want, it still effectively works like scry, which honestly, that's cool unto itself. I like that about it. People are also saying Biovisionary with this card, which I think is hilarious, and can work in Commander, by the way. In Standard, there's Mind Melter was just spoiled the other day. That's unblockable. Just basically any creature that can't be blocked. A good old lurker is a thing. There's also Omnath. That's funny. It kind of works like Kokusho. All your guys become Omnath. They all die because of Legend Rule. Your opponent takes 3 for each one. That's kind of cool. And Bane of Bala Ged is also a cool Standard card. You can do just exiling things for all your dudes that swing. They all stay alive in this case, too. You don't have to rely on Legend tricks or anything like that. So there's some cool Standard tricks here, and just tricks abound all throughout the Commander and stuff like that. I love Biovisionary and Kokusho are both hilarious tricks. That said, I'm not really sure how much play this sees altogether. It's a really weird card, and yet it works with things like Sanctum of Ugin and Conduit of Ruin and stuff like that. But end of the day, I think it might be another Void Winnower. You know, just looks really cool, does weird stuff that looks desirable, but end of the day, just probably doesn't see much play. This is Hissing Quagmire, the black-green man land, person land, whatever you call it. I guess I like it. You know, this will probably see play, if only because it's a man land, produces 2 colors, that's cool. But, you know, land guys having Death Touch is fine. You get to trade with big creatures, but you lose a land. I like the man lands that we've seen thus far, all a little bit more than this. But that said, this will still see play. This here is Oath of Jace, which I do like. A lot of discussion about this card today so far, and people saying, you know, well, it's terrible, or people saying it's amazing, you know. I am, as usual, a little on the fence about it, but I think there's a lot to like about it. Drawing 3 cards is great. Discarding 2 not only fuels Delve while it's still in the format, but fuels any Reanimator decks that we may see coming up. Also, this is good with Sphinx's Tutelage. Just drawing the 3 cards is good. I just like Sphinx's Tutelage. This allows for turn 3 flipping of Jace pretty easily if you have some fetch lands in the mix there. That's pretty cool, and when you do flip it, you get to scry at least once, you know, every turn, and scry 1 every turn is pretty good, you know. I have no qualms with that. And obviously this goes in like a Super Friends deck. It does seem like Wizards is pushing Super Friends with this and call the Gatewatch, and hopefully this will be a whole cycle, and we'll get a Liliana one, hopefully. Because I would say that just because there's an Oath of Jace, that does not mean that Jace is definitely for shiz in this set, but he probably is. I mean, he's part of the Gatewatch, you know. Lily is not, so I just wonder if we're going to see a black, you know, Oath of whoever. You know, you got to wonder that. But still, as far as this card in particular goes, I am pretty excited to see if it does anything. I just think it goes in a couple of things. Probably not like straight up control or anything, but again, fuels Delve. Good. I can't wait to try some sort of Reanimator thing with it. And I do think still that it goes in Sphinx's Tutelage if you're running Jace's, which you ought to be. Up next, General Tazri, and she has got a lot of people very excited. Just Allies players that play Commander for the most part. There's a lot of people just saying that this is absolute junk garbage in Standard and other formats. I don't entirely disagree, but I don't entirely agree. On the other hand, you know, in Standard, I don't think this is the thing that breaks Allies and finally makes it a viable deck. I just think it's mostly for, you know, design purposes. It's got a 5-color color identity for Commander. Commander, so obviously this is very much a Commander card. But even in Standard, Tutoring an Ally isn't bad. I don't know that I like the 3/4 body for 5 mana. That's kind of an issue. But if you are, you know, building the 5-color Allies deck, which they're pushing slightly with stuff like this, but they're not pushing it too far from what we've seen thus far from this set. But if they do push 5-color Allies a little bit, then that ability is incredible, you know? Just pumping all your dudes like 3 to 5 is amazing. So I don't dislike the card for Standard play, but I don't, unless we see some other amazing Allies cards, I just don't think it's going to happen. But Commander players rejoice, and you have been. People are very stoked on this. Up next, and we're almost finished already, this is quick. This is Embodiment of Fury, sweet name for a card. Here's the translation right here. Card looks really good to me, especially for an uncommon. I mean, a 4-power, 4-mana guy, that's fine. He's got trample, that's pretty good. Your lands that are creatures have trample, that's more value. And the best part about it, whenever you play a land, you get a 3/3 hasty land thing. So that's amazing, right? It seems like an amazing uncommon in draft, especially. And this helps out the Omnath deck. I know a lot of players are looking for that. Maybe it'll go in red-green landfall in tournament decks. I'm not sure. This is competing in those decks with, what is it, Mina and something other Den, you know, the other card that was spoiled maybe a couple of weeks ago now, which people are pretty happy about that too. I don't think that deck's going to run 2 4-drops, and a lot of people are saying that deck's not going to run any 4-drops at all. Like, they don't even like, I think it's like Mina and Tyrann Den or something. But anyway, that deck might not run 4-drops, period. So this card might be out of the question, that card might be out of the question. Overall, I think this will definitely go into like green-red landfall budget decks and helps them out over the long game. Your lands don't get chump blocked as effectively anymore. There's so much going for it. There's so much text on this card, and it's already a decent value, 4-mana, 4/3 trample. So I think it could do work outside of limited formats, but in limited, it's a freaking monster, first of all. But in like Standard, especially in budget decks, I think it's going to definitely be an important card for the next year or so. And this is Flaying Tendrils. I saved this for last because it might be the card I like best out of like all the cards spoiled so far today. We needed a replacement for Drown in Sorrow and Control in Standard specifically. Now, people are talking about this does work in Modern against things that people are playing Hanger Back in Modern, so there's that. But that also helps out Standard, you know. But Etched Champion, Kitchen Finks is another thing, and just aggro in general that likes to play with its graveyard. Or not, just aggro in general, goblins and elves and stuff like that. So in Modern, it could do some work, people are saying, although I like Drown in Sorrow. I like that it can scry. Scrying, you can't really discount how amazing scry is. But that said, in this Standard, it has some good applications. If Rally, you know, doesn't have an Nantuko Husk out, we'll say, then you just completely decimated like any of their strategies. Even if you just nab like a Cutthroat and another creature off of this, that's pretty awesome, you know. In Eldrazi decks, it helps fuel processing and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. There's an awful lot that this card does in the current Standard. Helps out against a Tarka Red the way that Drown in Sorrow did, and we kind of missed that. Helps out against the Rising Tide of Tokens decks that we see. If you look at the comments on Mythic Spoilers, it's a lot of Tokens players like, no! Just like exactly the response you should have. This will take the place of Virulent Plague, not only in sideboards, but in main decks. This will definitely see play. Drown in Sorrow is just such an amazing card. Infest is a good card too, you know. This is sort of what all these cards are ripping off of. And this feels like, somebody on Mythic Spoilers said that Anger of the Gods and Drown in Sorrow had a baby. And that's exactly what's going on here. The creature's exile, but it's only -2/-2, you know. So that's cool. Takes out creatures with Indestructible if you're worried about that, you know. Just lots and lots and lots of good things about this ting right here. Well, that's all I got for now. Not too many spoilers today, but a lot of really exciting stuff the very last day of the year. Happy New Year to you, my wizards. I will see you on the other side. If you enjoyed the content, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, my wizards.